Excuse me, I'm just waking up, but I thought, if not now, then when? I want to talk about Resident Evil 9, Resident Evil Requiem. I just finished the game about a few days ago. I'm a little late to the party, not too late. This is like one of the first games in a while that I've been able to catch on launch and actually finish within a reasonable time. And I wanted to give my review and put my 2 cents into it. I initially gave the game a 9.5, or I gave the game a 9.5 out of 10 right after finishing it. I'm going to stick with that score. It is a great new entry into the series. As someone who hasn't played every single Resident Evil or all of the OGs or things of that nature, it is still a fresh experience. A new enough experience where you don't need to know everything about the series going into it. As long as you know like the basic fundamentals, Umbrella, Raccoon City, some of the iconic characters, then this game will still make complete sense to you. I do know that there is DLC coming out, or at least being worked on. I saw the announcement sometime this week that they're making DLC for the game, or at least the development has started. And that too is that this game, like, it got me hype enough to want to go back and play the OGs and stuff. So like, I think that also, give credit where credit is due. If a game makes you, excited enough to want to go and check out the rest of the series, then it's doing something right, But getting all of that out the way, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the game, right? You got two playable characters. You got Leon and Grace. One side offering horror, the other side offering a lot more action-packed. I will say, however, once you play enough with Grace, it becomes less horror and more so strategic playing, navigating through obstacles and enemies and things of that nature, rather more so than horror. I will say I did enjoy Grace's side a lot for its story. Like, the story and the plot of this game was spectacular. But right now we're talking about the gameplay. And I did also enjoy, it's just Leon, bro. You got your kicks, you got your one-liners. It's everything that you need from a Leon story. I will say it's a little bit more tame. He's older. He's dealing with some things. I don't want to spoil it. There may still be some people who haven't played it yet, and they're looking at review videos to figure out if they want to buy it or not. Buy it. It's worth it. Trust me. Buy it. But yeah, he's dealing with some things, some personal challenges and whatnot. So he's not as... This isn't prime Leon in any way, shape, or form. However, this is still a good Leon. This is withered, aged Leon, and my guy is aged like some good whiskey. Let me tell you. Just really, there's some really emotional scenes in here that he gives. When you have a character that's been in the franchise for so long, to see them, just not that spry chicken like they used to be, man. Sometimes those scenes hit. But I know that some people got tired of Grace's side. Like, a lot of people don't like the modern take on Resident Evil, the whole first-person super horror aspect. A lot of people prefer the survival horror, third person. Just like the classic. The classic. A lot of people prefer the classic, RE formula. But I'm not gonna lie, I think this game combines the two really well and creates a nice blend. And it's also optional. The first-person camera in this game is optional. I don't know if it was in 8 or 7, but in this one it's optional. You can play as Grace in third person, but it doesn't feel right. I think the first person works really well. I also really enjoyed the crafting system in this game, or the upgrade system. Once you start playing as Leon, there are ammo cache box. I don't know how to explain it. There's just like a customization box that takes into effect the amount of kills you have. You get rewarded based on your kills, so it does kind of incentivize you to play a little bit more in the mix, instead of playing a little less, play less reserved, play more into it, action packed. I don't know how to say it right now. My brain's still waking up, but I did enjoy that a lot. There was a lot of nice upgrades to weapons. I really enjoyed the sniper, not the one, not the one that you get with the scope. It's the one that comes without the scope, or you can take. It's like a military bolt action rifle, and I took that to endgame. I was very reserved with Requiem. I didn't use it too much. but I did enjoy the sniper and the shotgun. Yeah, the police pump shotgun was really well. The pistols and stuff felt a little overwhelming. Like that too, there were some weapons that felt a little bit underwhelming, but it wasn't like a deal breaker or anything for me. It didn't ruin anything for me. What did kind of affect my score? Well, I guess should we talk about all the positives and then get to the negatives rather than gameplay, characters, etc. Yeah, let's do that. Another great positive I had as well was the level design and just like the world building. Like I really enjoyed the antagonists in this game. I think Victor Gideon and Zeno were great villains. I do think that Zeno was little. He did get a little sidelined towards the end, but for what we had of him, it was great. I always love seeing good villains. I'm trying not to spoil anything, but I always love seeing good villains. Another thing I want to give this game its flowers for is there are a lot of like holy moments, like just shock factor. A lot of shock value moments in here, but like it's not forced or anything. Like there were a lot of moments in stream where I was like, oh wow. Like just mouth wide open, like didn't know how to react or anything like that. It just caught me so off guard. There are a lot of like just moments that you aren't expecting. There's a couple good jump scares, but as well as a couple good just like holy, like they actually did that. They actually put that in the game, and I think it works well, and it adds to the overall suspense and like tension building. The enemies weren't too shabby either. There were some classic enemies that made a return. I don't know why. Like, how are you still alive? Type of I don't know why. Not necessarily like a bad thing. And I do see a few people saying things about like reused assets or like, oh, we're going to Raccoon City for the whatever time or RPD for the whatever time. Like I said, this is coming from someone who hasn't played all of the classics or anything like that. I enjoyed it. I love it. Not nostalgia baiting. I do feel like there was a tiny bit of nostalgia baiting, but not necessarily in a bad way, for a potential character send-off game or, beloved franchise send-off, whatever you want to say, or even just in terms of this chapter, a new start, if you would, to the series. I feel like this was a sort of like, not a reboot to the series, but like the beginning of a new chapter, and like where they could take it in terms of the story and like what happens next. I think it's kind of fitting to return back to where it all began, Now, how many times have they done that? Hey, I can only talk about this game, and I enjoyed it. Also, I guess while we're in that on this topic, let's get into the writing. I love the plot. It was such a good plot. I love the finale. I love the endings. There's 2 different endings in this game. One really fucking sucks. Like, it's really bittersweet, but it's also really good. And the other ending is also equally as good, and it leaves more room for open-ended. It's an open-ended ending in my mind. Leaves more room for questions. There were some like obvious writing choices that were like, I could see this coming, from not a mile away or anything, but like I could see this happening. Like this was kind of predictable. It didn't ruin anything too much or anything of that nature. Like there were still moments where I was like, I thought something was going to happen and then the complete opposite happened, or this person gets saved at the last second, things of that nature, which I'm all for a game or anything keeping me on my toes, keep me second guessing, keep me trying to figure out the story. Like I love that, and the game does that really well. And there are also moments where it does it kind of poorly. Not the end of the world though. I'm not like, I don't want to dive. Like I said, I want to keep this kind of spoiler free, so I don't want to dive too much or too in depth into story or plot or anything of that nature. I do think, however, just a beautiful, great quality of life mechanic, being able to, as soon as you finish the game, go back and choose the other ending, but like still keep all of your first ending progress or achievements and all that, and like keeping all that locked, but just going back to be able to see the second ending, I think was really huge. Not having to reload a save or go through a fight again or anything of that nature was really huge. I did see some other people play and like they didn't get that option. That option never popped up for them. I'm not sure why. Maybe, I mean, I played on like the regular difficulty, like the modern regular difficulty. Maybe that's why. Um, but nonetheless, it was a great quality of life add-on or bonus. I loved the tiebacks to some of the previous games in terms of like the characters. Like the main Grace's mom is a character from Resident Evil Outbreak. The overarching plot relates to the entire Resident Evil verse, like the entire virus, the entire T virus, like the overarching plot, revolves around that. Like I said before, there are some classic characters and even classic enemies that make an appearance. There are some flashback sequences that are pretty good. There are some that are kind of dragged out, which we'll get on in a second once we get to the negatives. I'm trying to get out as many positives as I can. There are a lot of positives. There was like one like stationary turret sequence, which wasn't even really a stationary turret. Like you got to control the vehicle and whatnot. That was pretty fun. I do like that too. On Leon's side, a lot of the action-packed sequences were like really, really good. They were they fit right at home. Like this was perfect for Leon and kind of like refreshing moments too for the in between horror moments. Like that once you have like too much horror for the entire time and you get used to it, it kind of breaks the immersion a little bit. But once you have those refreshing moments in between and then you get back into the horror, it kind of like, all right, I gotta, you gotta get used to those jump scary, the tension moments and all that again. So I think that there were like the breaks in between Grace's and like the switches between Grace and Leon were very, very properly well timed. They were well timed. I didn't have any complaints about them. I guess with all that being said, let's get to the negatives, right? I gave the game a 9.5, so I can't possibly have too many negatives, and I don't. Like I said, a lot of the writing decisions, like some of the pacing was a little bit odd, right? Specific sequence I can think of, there's a flashback, and I've seen a lot of other people complain about this too, where you're playing as a kid in an orphanage, spoiler free, a kid in an orphanage, and it's the night of the raccoon. It's the night of it's day 0, night 1 of Raccoon City, and you have to navigate the orphanage. And there are some parts that kind of just feel a little dragged out in it. Like there are some moments where you have to sit in a spot and wait for a little bit longer than I feel like you should have to, or I've seen a lot of people say that you shouldn't have to. Not the biggest, end of the world. For me, it's not make or break. It's literally one sequence out of a 10-hour game, like it's not that deep to me. But just something that I noticed. Something else that I noticed too was a lot of the enemy UI was a little bit janky, specifically the giant monster, the giant blind monster girl. I don't think she got named or anything, but like her UI or her AI was a little janky, like the pathing. Granted, it could have just been like game mechanics doing what game mechanics do, but there was a lot of like guarding happening, like a lot of guarding. I'm talking, my objective is right there at the end of the room. I just made her despawn 5 feet behind me and I get to the end of the room and she just says hello. Like there was a lot of that happening. A lot of her like walking back and forth, like literally blocking where I had to go. There's also a couple moments where like she interacted with zombies but like didn't interact with them. Like they became invincible when she tried to like swing them out of the way or whatever. It is what it is. The game just didn't want me to win. It is what it is. But the biggest like mechanic issue that I had was audio desyncing. Damn near every single cutscene, the game would like glitch for a sec, like a split second, and then the audio would desync, and it like ruined certain cutscenes. I've seen some other people, their solution was to restart their game. I didn't know that. I didn't know there was a solution. I thought it was like my graphics card or something. So there were a lot of just desyncing issues throughout the game. Mainly only during cutscenes though, which, like I said, that didn't make or break for me, but it did really, really mess with the immersion a lot. Especially during those pivotal scenes, you know? Some of the character decisions, like, I'm not gonna lie, some of the decisions that Grace made weren't the smartest and were kind of just like plot armor, you know, protected by plot armor. Speaking of, there is a very important thing that happens earlier on in the game that like never gets explained or touched on again after that, and it's kind of left up for you to figure out, which I don't even know if that was the intention. Like, it could have just been that they kind of forgot about this moment in the game, but the thing that confuses me is that it's a really, really huge moment, like a really important moment, and it never gets spoken about, never gets mentioned, damn near never even gets showed again. So I'm very curious as to just like what happened with that, you know? Is that, are we going to talk about that? Is that something we're going to discover in the DLC or a future game? Like, what's going on with that? I'm not going to say anything about it or anything like that. You're going to immediately notice within like the first hour of playing, 20 minutes even maybe. But yeah, it's a pretty big, like, you know, flag on the play. But yeah, those were like my biggest complaints. Like I said, not major complaints. All things that, I mean, besides the story pacing stuff, all things that can be fixed with future updates, you know, the desyncing issues, the pathing and things of that nature, all things that can be fixed. So I'm gonna stick with my 9.5. I think Requiem, if it wasn't for, well, we don't even know if GTA is going to drop this year, but so far Requiem is probably my game of the year. I know I'd said the same about Romeo's a Dead Man. I didn't get to finish it though, but Requiem, it's my game of the year so far. Somebody come out with something else that I can play, that give me another contender, man. This game was hot. This game was hot.